Listen to this very carefully. This might be the most important video I've ever posted, and I'm serious about that. If you're experiencing tremendous pressure, stress, it could be financial, you don't have enough money, things are not working out for you in your life, then listen very carefully. Because this is what they should have taught us in elementary school, in high school, in college, in university. This is what our parents should have taught us. But they didn't know any better, right? And now, what I want to talk about today is the 4 keys to the good life. And I don't know your background, but I didn't grow up with a perfect background. I didn't grow up with money. I was born to a single mom, and my mom was a very courageous, hardworking woman, and she was everything to me, right? We didn't have the luxuries or even the basics that many took for granted. And there was a point in time when she was diagnosed with cancer. And it was like my small world had just sort of tumbled down and collapsed in front of my eyes. And at the time, I was a college student, trying to make sense of a path that never really felt like mine. College just seemed like a one-way road to a job. And for me, it just felt like a detour that was leading me away from where I actually needed to be. After failing my first year and giving it another shot, because I just didn't know where else to do, I was completely lost. I did a year in college, and I was like, I failed. I was like, I hate this. But I was programmed to believe that this was the only path to success, right? And so I just remember doing that first year, hitting every minute. I missed over 200 and something lessons, like lectures, because I just didn't want to be there, but I didn't know where else to do. And I also didn't want to look like a failure in front of my friends, my family, my peers, all this sort of stuff, right? And I just remember failing that first year, and I decided to give her another shot. And I realized that it wasn't the failure that scared me, but the realization that I was climbing a ladder leaning against the wrong wall. And so I made the tough decision again to drop out again. Not once, but twice, like I said. I dropped out the first year and thought, what the fuck do I do? And then I went back because I didn't know where else to do. I took a different course and thought maybe it's the thing I'm doing. It just doesn't work with me. And I went back the second year, different course, felt the same way. And I dropped out again. And that time I knew it was final. That time I knew there was no turning back. And now I just have to go and figure it out. And that was very scary, being 18 years old, like just not knowing what to do in life. And really at that time, like really caring what everyone thought of you, and knowing that all your friends were in college and doing well and getting good grades and on this path to university, right? And so there was just this void, just a sense of being lost, very lonely, spending my days gaming, trying to escape reality, which felt like less and less of the life that I actually wanted to lead, right? And so it got to a stage where money was just getting really tight. And my mom, despite her illness, was putting on a brave face every single day. And I felt like deep within that I had to step up and be the man of the house, right? And I grew up early, I had to grow up young. But I'm not going to get into that, that's another story. And so I took a maintenance job, and I thought that was the next step. I'll just take a maintenance job because that's what I can do to make some money. And it was just very hard, grueling work. I would wake up at 5 a.m. and sometimes get home at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. I was doing 80-hour weeks, like regularly, right? And so, but it was a start, right? It was a start. And it was during that time that I came across a video on YouTube by Alex Becker. And that video, those words, they ignited a spark that said, maybe, just maybe, there's a different path for me. And I remember the video as clear as day. I remember the moment being in my old bedroom in my old ass house and just being lost, and an ad popping up saying that you can make money from drop shipping products from China to UK, US, selling things like this wolf mug and how I made X amount. And I was like, holy shit, that's insane. That's such a genius idea, drop shipping. And at the time, drop shipping wasn't this like overused word. It was like this really cool, like, oh my God, drop shipping. Like no one had heard of it. Like if like it was really cool and it had like this cool, like I didn't even know, it just had this aura around it. And now it's such an overused term and everyone does drop shipping. And back then it wasn't as big. And Alex Becker was doing it and teaching and selling courses on it. And so I was like, okay, I clicked the link. I went through the landing page, it was ClickFunnels landing page. I didn't know what funnels and all these things was at the time. And I clicked the page and it was like, I remember being like really expensive to learn how to do this. And I was like, I can't afford that. I was like, but this is at the start. I can just learn this myself. Started YouTubing, doing research, come across Ty Lopez and blah, blah, blah. Went into all that, but I don't want to go down the wrong path and distract you from the actual point here, which is the 4 keys to the good life. But I just want to give some context. And I just remember that video really changed the trajectory of my life. It really did. And I actually met Alex Becker and Sandra Payne. It was like such a full circle moment because like he is really, even though I never bought his program, I never bought his course, and he was like the actual person that started it all for me. And just from that simple ad, just seeing that there was another path just made me change my life trajectory. And so it was like a right place, right time. And so that's what I did. I ventured into entrepreneurship, right? Not because I saw it as a glamorous journey, but because I saw it at my shot at actually creating something. And my first attempt was in dropshipping, and I did that for 3 years. And it was a 3-year roller coaster. I learned a ton of high-value skills, but I failed miserably. I had a couple of stores that did okay, and I could just never get it to take off. I had mentors and courses, and I poured all my money into it to try and make it work for 3 years, and I failed. I failed, completely failed. Everyone around me was saying it was a phase, that it was a mistake, and obviously when they see that you're not getting handed an instant paycheck, it's just like they don't understand that, right? Like as an entrepreneur, you don't get handed an instant paycheck. You could get a paycheck 3 years from when you start, and people don't understand that because when you get a job, you get paid the next week, right? And that's not how entrepreneurship works. And it's this thing that goes against the norm of society, and people just don't understand the path, right? And so everyone was telling me that it was a phase, and that I should go and get a real job. And I just never felt like I should listen to those people. And there was parts of me on that journey over the 3 years where I doubted myself, and I did give up at one point and went and just got a regular job again. And there was tons of ups and downs and little side hustles I did throughout. But again, they would take me 12 hours to explain that. I don't think you got 12 hours, and neither have I. And so everyone was against me, saying I should get a real job. But there was something in me that just couldn't go back to the conventional path after I'd seen sort of what the light could be at the end of the tunnel, or at least what I thought it could be. And that's when the pivotal turn came, where I decided to start a service-based business. And I started my agency. And I poured every ounce of learning and my failures from dropshipping, my determination into this business. And this was like back against the wall, quitting your job, going all in, $5,000 in your bank saved up, make it work, or that's it. That's how I looked at it. And so it was the first time I really had just tons of risk. I quit my job just to go all in on this agency from the start, because I knew I needed that focus and that mental clarity, right? And this wasn't just about making money, although that was the core driver at the time, but it was about building something that I actually was proud of, right? And this journey, this path that I've carved, it's been about such more than financial success, and it's been more about achievement and fulfillment within myself in terms of personal development and growing day on day and just getting that 1% better mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. And so the point of this video is to give you those lessons that I'd learned. And I truly believe there's this thing called the 4 keys of the good life. And what I'm about to tell you is literally where I've spent my life up to this point learning from multiple millionaire mentors, traveling the world, building businesses. I run 2 7-figure companies at the moment, interacting and just overall interacting with this world, right, on social media, online. And those 4 keys, it's about health, wealth, love, and happiness, right? Now, look, if you do not have a roadmap to success, I can pretty much predict your future. People always come to me and say, oh, Dylan, I want to be successful. And I'm like, well, answer a few questions for me, and I'll predict your future. And those questions are, who do you learn from? Who are you learning from now? And tell me about your upbringing, right? And those three basic questions, I can almost predict your future. And people don't like to hear that because they're like, no, I'm special, Dylan, I'm special, man, blah, 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 I'm special. Once you step out the door, like Chris Rock, the comedian, says, once you step out the door of your house, nobody cares about you. There's a big, bad world out there, and if you're broke, nobody's going to put money in your pocket. Nobody's going to put money in your bank account for you. It's all down to you. You don't want that victim mentality, right? Life doesn't happen to you. Life happens because of you. And so, maybe you win the lottery, you'll be 1 in a billion, right? But are you going to hold out for that? Is that really the path? I mean, I don't like your odds there, right? You're probably going to get the end of your life and you're going to be sad. And I'm going to give you a formula in this video. I'm going to give you what I call the 4 keys to the good life. And there are 4 things that they should have taught us in school. 4 things, and 0 of these was taught in school. Literally 0. And they're about health, wealth, love, and happiness, right? So these 4 keys, if I had known them when I was 18 years old, dropping out of college, my life would have been 10 times better than it is now. And I have a good life. I bought my own house. It's $1 million house, and I'm not here to flex. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's a big ass 6-bedroom, 6-bathroom house, right? And my life's pretty good. I've got good people around me, good friends, and good businesses, right? But if I had known this at 18 years old, my life would have been 10 times better than it is now. And so if you're struggling, then you have to learn these 4 keys. It's not optional. It's a choice between a fulfilling life or one that just passes you by. That's the worst thing you could have. Is they did a survey where they interviewed people on their deathbed, and the people said that the biggest regret they have on their deathbed, the majority of people they interviewed, the biggest regret they have is not trying as much as they could, not trying hard enough on the things they could have done to get the life they wanted, and giving up on those dreams and just settling for an average life because maybe they cared about society's opinions too much. And so that's what they said, not working hard enough on the life that they could have had, and they wondered what their life could have been like if they had actually picked something, stuck with it, and worked hard at it, right? And so you don't want that to be you. Put yourself in that situation, meditate and go there, and trust me, you don't want to be there. And so life can be tough, or you can embrace the 4 keys of the good life. Some people might wonder, do all successful people know these 4 keys? They might not know them explicitly, but they 100% live them. Because without these keys, life is like sailing without a compass, right? It's quite straightforward, right? And so why am I so confident in these 4 pillars, these 4 keys? Because if you take any successful person's story, they have mastered these keys. Maybe not in equal measure, but enough to create balanced, fulfilling life. And the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, talks about business, right? But what about business of living a good life? And that's where the keys come in. It's not just about health. It's not just about wealth. It's not just about love. It's not just about happiness. You need all 4. If you can grasp the 4 keys to the good life and apply them, then your life will transform. You'll be surprised at how different you'll be a year from now, excelling in health, wealth, love, and happiness, right? Now, the first key is happiness. And now, I think the biggest and most important one, there's kind of 3 pillars of happiness. There's almost 3 pillars in each one. So you've got health, wealth, love, and happiness. There's kind of 3 in each one. But again, I've not got 12 hours to explain this to you, and you probably haven't got 12 hours to listen. So I think the biggest and most important one for you to grasp, which I'll touch on today, is you have to know how to pick your career. Now, I used to think that success meant following a set path laid out by society. Go to college, job, climb the ladder, right? But when I had to drop out to support my family, I realized that success is deeply personal. I found myself at home feeling lost, gaming, drifting, not living up to my potential, and then necessity led me to entrepreneurship, right? It was necessity. It wasn't a clear or easy path. Dropshipping tested my limits. All the little side hustles I did that failed tested my limits. And I did that for 3 years, and I faced tons of criticism, tons of skepticism. But that journey with its failures and lessons was where I truly discovered my passion and potential for what I'm doing right now. And now, for some of you, your career, like me, is to be an entrepreneur. Probably for the majority of you watching this video, your career is to be an entrepreneur or run your own business, right? And some of you, it's to work for somebody else. And that didn't matter at this point in juncture, because one of the 4 keys, maybe the most fundamental key, is selecting your occupation, right? You will spend the majority of your life in some sort of occupation. If you work 8 hours a day, nothing, no other single activity, no marriage, no time with your kids, no with your friends, watching football, wherever, nothing compares with your career. And there's basically zero preparation. So people just grow up and they're like, oh, my dad was working for the post office, so I'll just do that. Or they stumble into a job. Oh, I need money, so I'm going to drive Uber, and then this. And then they just like kind of randomly go from thing to thing. Even entrepreneurs, I see it. Even entrepreneurs that make big money, they don't like what they do because they just randomly choose, or like, oh, it looks like that'll make money, so I better get into that. Oh, my friend sells clothes online, so I'll sell clothes online. My friend does trading, so I'll do trading. Like, I don't really give a fuck about clothes or trading, but I'll do it to make money. That's the wrong way to do it. That's the wrong way to do it. If you're that person that's like, oh, my friend sells clothes online, so I'll sell clothes online, but I don't really care about clothes, but I'll do it to make money, that's the wrong way to do it. I'm telling you right now, that is the wrong way to do it. You will not succeed. You will burn out faster than anything. The solution to this, the real game changer, is aligning your career with your true self. It's about understanding your strengths, passions, and what really drives you. Think about what you're naturally good at. What activities make you lose track of time? What brings you genuine joy? This isn't just about making money, it's about making a life. And so the hard reality is there might be some of you watching this now that you're not meant to be an entrepreneur and you're never going to make it as an entrepreneur. And that's the real reality. And so what are you actually passionate about? Because you can figure out a way to make it work. Maybe it's music, maybe it's art, maybe it's these things that you think are ultra competitive. But being an entrepreneur is one of the most competitive things. And so if it's football, if it's a sport, if you really dedicate yourself to it and really give it your all and go all in, you can make it work. And I promise that that's the life you want. Wherever you're passionate about, you might think, yeah, but I need to make money. I promise you, wherever you're passionate about, if you go all in for 3 to 5 years, you'll find a way to make money in that passion. And now when you align your occupation with your inner self, work doesn't feel like work anymore. It becomes a journey of fulfillment. And this is where you don't just survive, but you thrive, right? You wake up excited for the day. Your work fuels you rather than drains you, and you find yourself in a state of flow more often than not. And so really sit down tonight and just think and meditate on that, of what you actually find passion. Because if you are waking up every day and you're trying to be an entrepreneur, but you're procrastinating, you don't want to do the work, you don't like to get up in the mornings because of the day ahead, if that's how you feel, I promise you're in the wrong career. And that's a hard reality, it is. And so you've got to be willing to see that, because I promise you, if you force yourself to be an entrepreneur, yeah, you might make money, but you'll get to the end of your life and you would have wished and regretted that you didn't do that other thing that you were passionate about. Imagine if you would give that your all instead of giving something your all just to make money, because I promise you money isn't everything. I really do. And it's very hard for people to understand and comprehend that, but I promise it's not. You really do need these 4 keys, right? Now, remember, right, finding this alignment isn't a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process of self-discovery, learning and adapting. Your interests and passions might evolve over time, and that's okay. What's important is that you stay true to yourself and remain open to change and keep aligning your work with your evolving self. I'll give you an example. I always used to think I was going to be an athlete. I was quite a high-level athlete, 800-meter runner, run track. I was really good. I traveled the world in training, warm weather training competitions. I was like the best in my country. I had the fastest time for my age, and won a couple like big championships and stuff like that. And I thought that was my path. I genuinely thought at that time when I was 14, 15 years old that was my path. There was no way you could have told me now that I'd be doing what I'm doing. I thought that was my path, and that's where my interest and focus was at the time. I had just had a ton of big injuries, and it didn't end up going that way, and that's when I felt lost. And it was meant to be, because I discovered entrepreneurship, which is something I am truly passionate about. I get out of bed with fucking enthusiasm. Like, if I have an alarm and it goes off, I jump out of bed and within 90 seconds I'm working. Like, I swear on my life. Like, I literally have an alarm. Let's just say it goes off. The second that goes off, brain turns on. I actually jump, throw myself out of bed, and I go downstairs and I literally start working on my highest priority task for the day straight away. That's it. That's literally what I do. Like, I love it that much. I'm obsessed with becoming this better version of me and building cool stuff and creating value for people, right? And so ask yourself, are you doing what you love? Or are you just doing what you think is socially acceptable? Are you just doing what's cool? Being an entrepreneur is cool. I mean, I don't think it's cool. Like, it's fucking hard, and it's over glamorized on social media because everyone just shows the cars and the lifestyle, and that's how people sell you on this stuff. And I understand that, and I do that too. You know what I mean? But that's not reality. The reality is you're working 8-12 hours a day every single day, and that's your life. And if you don't enjoy that and you can't deal with that, like, I could do this for the next 60 years. If you don't think you could do that, and if you look at entrepreneurship as like, I'm just going to work really hard for 5 years, then I can enjoy my life and go and do wherever I want, you're probably not going to be a good entrepreneur. Because good entrepreneurs, like, this is it for me. Like, this is it. Like, I am on this journey to be on this journey. I'm not exactly here for the achievements, and while the achievements are important because success is achievement plus fulfillment, while that's important, I'm here for the journey. I don't care if I'm doing this for the next 60 years. I love it. I love the work. I love everything that I do on a day in, day out basis, right? And so ask yourself, are you doing what you love? Are you using your talents? Are you excited about what you do every day? Because if not, it's time to rethink and reevaluate. And this is the harsh truth that you need to hear. And this is the key step towards true happiness. Finding and doing the work that resonates with who you are at your core, right? Finding and doing the work that resonates with who you are at your core, right? Now, let's just hit up the second key, because I don't want this to be a fucking 4-hour video, but this is really important. Now, the second key of the 4 keys to the good life is wealth, but hold on, right? It's not just about stacking cash. Wealth's about having the freedom to do your thing, right? Make choices that really mean something to you. And here's the kicker that I learned the hard way, right? Your bank balance is never going to outgrow your personal development. Remember this, right? Your level of income will never far exceed your level of personal development. And I remember hearing that from a Jim Rohn speech, and it's so fucking true. Like, it's like as you grow as a person, your ability to handle and grow your wealth does too. And so my own roller coaster with money, it's been wild, right? Making big bucks for the first time, like a lot of money, was insane. But I lost it all. And losing it because I didn't know shit about handling it. And that was a very tough lesson, right? Wealth isn't just about hoarding money. It's knowing how to actually manage it and grow it and keep on to it, right? It's like the seasons, right? And yeah, it's an interesting game, wealth and money. And getting on top of your wealth game starts with learning the ropes yourself, and understanding the basics of how to budget. Why saving is key, but not being like too frugal, right? There's a balance in everything. How investing works, right? Patience, probably the biggest secret to wealth is going to be patience. Dude, you need lots of patience. Building wealth is more like running a marathon, not sprinting. And a lot of people, especially in today's day and age with the get rich quick stuff, people think it's like sprinting, and it's not. It's not a sprint at all. It's a fucking long ass marathon, plus an Ironman, plus like a fucking 10K. Like it's crazy. And don't put all your eggs in one basket either, right? Diversify. But you don't want to diversify at the start. As you start to make money, you want to diversify, but you want to make your income in one thing first. Get good at one thing first. Once you've made an income, once you've become a millionaire, once you've made 7 figures, that's when you want to then diversify, right? So that depends where you're at. Now, each of these is a different level of playground for your personal growth, because it's not just about the money, but also getting smarter with your emotions, making good calls and staying on top of your game, right? Your emotions is a big thing at this once you start to move up the wealth ladder. And if you don't master your emotions, then the external world is going to master you, and you don't want that, right? You can't control what goes out in the external world. You can only control what happens in the internal world, right? And so you want to control over your emotions, because you can't You can't control what happens to a situation. You know, if, let's just use this analogy. If a family member dies, that's uncontrollable. It's inevitable. But what you can control is how you react to that situation. What you can control is your emotions. And that's not me saying don't cry. That's not me doing any of that stuff. Like, you process it and cry and do what you need to do. But I'm saying you dictate the internal. Like, if you go and sob about that and that becomes the defining point of your life, someone died and now you don't go and make something of your life because of that, that's on you, right? You've decided that for you. You've decided your own fate. And so your worth isn't just about your wealth. True wealth is about living a rich, good life. Good times with friends, good times with family, experiences that stick, that you remember, and also the joy of giving back as well, right? Now, I'll drop a few books that just totally changed the game for me in terms of understanding wealth and personal development. First one's Principles by Ray Dalio. Pure gold. He just breaks down like the life and work principles like a boss, right? The second book is going to be The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Also, again, this book really changed my beliefs around money. It's all about getting ahead with your money, and that book is amazing. And then one of the books I've read more recently, which was a game changer for me, is The Millionaire Master Plan by Roger Hamilton, right? This one is literally the roadmap for wealth, for building wealth. Like, it's literally the roadmap. There's tests and stuff you do. It's insane. It's really good. I'll also give you a little bonus one. And everyone knows this one, and if you don't, get to know it. It's a timeless classic, oldie but a goldie, Think and Grow Rich. This book is what started it all for me after I'd found Alex Becker, and after I had done this was the first book I'd ever picked up. And it's all about your mindset and how it can make or break your financial success. And these books are more than just money talk. They're literally like life coaches in your pocket, just helping you level up in wealth and as a person. And so remember, your level of personal development, your level of income will never far exceed your level of personal development, right? Now, let's just dive into the third key. We're nearly at the end. Stick with me here, right? Hopefully you haven't got the attention span of a fish, because this is fucking important. So if you clicked off, you're missing out. Now, the third key is love. And we're not just talking about romance. It's all about the relationship that light up your life, right? The relationships that light up your life. Stick around, because this one's going to get juicy, right? This one's going to get juicy. Not romantic stuff, and not just about like finding your soulmate, right? But it's a lot broader than that. It's about all those incredible people who light up your life, your family, your best friends, and even those awesome fucking colleagues that you just click with, right? Those people where you meet them and you're like, I just feel like I've known this motherfucker like all my life. I just feel like I've known this guy, like just that vibe. It's just vibe and energy and frequency. When you meet those people, keep them fucking close, because life's about people, right? And in my life, figuring out this relationship puzzle has been a wild and crucial like part of my life. Especially when it comes to managing it with like business and all this stuff, because they can either add to your business or take away from your business, right? And so it's about surrounding yourself with people who really get you, who are on the same frequency, who are on the same vibration, who are there to cheer you on, but they're also there to call you out on your bullshit when you're not performing at how you could be, right? And people who are just real and keep it real with you, right? And who stick around when things get tough. And let's be real, it's not always smooth sailing. You've got to be genuine with people. You've got to really hear them out. And you've got to have a genuine interest in people to find the people that are going to be willing to stick around with you in your circle, right? And sometimes that means opening up and being vulnerable. And that can be tough for a lot of people, especially if you've had a lot of childhood trauma and stuff like that, like I did, right? And now the key is to connect with those who you vibe with, who add something positive to your life. It doesn't have to be just business, but it can be in any aspect, right? And now just maybe that person where you've worked so hard all week and you just kind of want to go out one day and just go on a cool adventure somewhere and go on a hike or do wherever, and you just have that one friend that's just like the really good vibe. Maybe he doesn't have nothing to do with business. He's happy living his life, working his job, but he's just a good vibe, good energy to be around with on those kind of days, right? And so it doesn't have to be like financially value. It can be value in every aspect. And don't forget about number one as well, right? Which is yourself, right? You've got to love yourself too. You've got to, being cool with who you are makes it so much easier to be cool with everyone else. And so like when you start making money, people are just going to expect you to start like giving handouts straight away when you make your first little bit of money. But you don't want to do that, because you have to be selfish in a way, and you have to pour into yourself first. You have to make sure you're good first. You've got to help yourself to help others. And that's really true. And you'll know when that's truly right? You'll know when it's time to go retire your mum. And if you try and do those things too early, it's just going to actually fuck you up and put you back. And then it's all going to come crumbling down anyway, right? Because you have to be the one to actually break those generational curses. And if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it, right? So treat yourself right, give yourself some props, and always remember that you deserve happiness, and have that winning mindset. Another good book on this topic as well is going to be The Winner Effect. Really, really good book, right? And let's talk about love and relationships as well. And also let's talk about how travel fits into this, right? Travel, especially when you manage to do it like 4 times a year, is a mind opener. Like, just try it. You should be traveling 4 times a year. Like, if you're not traveling 4 times a year, then you're fucking up. You are just fucking up. Like, you need to find a way to travel 4 times a year, because it is a mind opener. Each trip, each new place, and the people that you meet add something just super special to your life. And it's about experiencing different cultures and perspectives. And that kind of exposure just broadens your mind, broadens your horizons in ways that staying put just can't. Like, it just can't. There's only so much reading and so much consuming information and wisdom that you can do. Traveling is that missing piece. And it's so key. It's so key. So just try and get out there at least 4 times a year and travel to different places and experience different cultures. And here's where wealth as well, our second key, ties in, right? Because sure, travel can be expensive, but that's exactly why building wealth is important. That's why you have to have all 4 keys, right? And so it's not just about splurging on luxurious trips. I'm not saying to go and do that, right? But just get out there more, just travel. You can go on budget trips, right? Just do it, because you'll probably make more money as a result of it. And it's just about having that freedom to actually explore, to learn, to grow, right? And that's the real essence of love and of wealth as well, right? Having the resources to enrich your life with experiences like travel. So yeah, traveling is a very big deal. It really is. And it's an investment in your personal development, and also it's an investment in understanding the world better, because the news and all this shit is just a load of bullshit, right? So let's be clear, this is not about fancy trips and going and doing trips with models and yachts and Ferrari and all this bullshit, right? It's just part of living a good life, where you're not just existing, but you're thriving and experiencing what life has to offer. So yeah, let's wrap up on love, right? Traveling, super key, and everything else we touched on. Now, the last part, and arguably, not even arguably, this is the most important key. And this is by far the most important key, because without this, everything else falls apart. But again, you can't just have one or the other, because you have people, I know people that are extremely fucking rich, but don't have love, and so they're lonely, and there's tons of issues. And I also know people that have love, and don't have any money, and so they're always stressed out. So you have to have all 4 keys. Like, these are the 4 keys to the good life. You have to, and while, you might have wealth up here and then this, but you need to be constantly working on all 4 aspects. You're never going to be like completely perfect, but you need to have 4. And you need to be working on them at some level, day in, day out, right? So, the crucial one for last, health. Health, right? This is the 4th key in the 4 keys to the good life. Boy, oh boy, it's a big one, right? Health is not just about hitting the gym. It's not just about eating right, though those are very fucking important. And it doesn't just have to be eating the gym. It can just be any type of physical fitness, right? But it's about your overall well-being, mental, spiritual, emotional. And that's the keys, right? So for a long time, I was all about work. I was all about chasing goals, chasing materialistic shit, which it can be good. It can motivate you. It can get you going, right? But I realized that I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't feeling good physically. I wasn't feeling good mentally. And at that point, everything else just kind of loses its shine. And health is the foundation that everything is built on, right? And without it, it's really tough to enjoy wealth, love, or even those happy moments. So here's my take on health, right? Health is about balance. It's about making smart choices. And it's about finding activity you enjoy, right? Not just where everyone else thinks you should be doing. Because fucking Tate does boxing, don't just go and do boxing. Because the gym gurus go to the gym, don't have to go and do the gym. Find your own thing that you enjoy doing. If you enjoy fucking basketball and you love playing basketball, do basketball. Like, the people that only go to the gym to, like, really look aesthetic so they can be better, it's the same as the people that just buy Lamborghinis because they care what other people think. Like, I'd rather just be fit and healthy, like, which is why I would never do anything like steroids or any of that bullshit, right? Because it's just not good for you. So if you're doing that to look aesthetic, like, you're actually a fucking loser. Like, if you need to do shit like steroids because you want to, that just shows you don't have patience. Like, if you have to do shit like that to look good for other people for when you go out to the club and all this bullshit, like, you're actually a fucking loser. Like, I don't care what you say. And so if you prefer basketball, fucking hit the court. Go play basketball. If you prefer yoga, go do fucking yoga, right? And it's about moving your body in ways that feel good to you. It could be dancing. It does not matter. Just find what works for you. Don't listen to anyone else, right? Because if you follow everyone else, 99% of people are average, so you're going to be average. Don't do that. Take your own path. Think for yourself. And pick for you. Actually sit down and think. No one fucking thinks anymore because we're just distracted by our phones. Think, actually sit down and think, what do you enjoy doing? What do you want to do? Because that will create longevity, right? But the most important one, the most important pillar of health is what you eat. Because it's not just about the fitness side of things. I would say what you eat is 10 times more important. What you fuel your body with is 10 times more important. And for me, my diet is a big deal. One of the biggest deals in my life. I stick to foods that keep me feeling my best. I'm not eating for dopamine hits. I'm not eating to feel good. Like, I'm eating to feel good, but I'm not eating that fucking Mars bar because I want to like the taste. I'm not doing that. I'm eating to fuel my body because that's what food's for. But because of how corrupt the food industry is, they've fucked our food. Everything's ultra processed, or it's just fucked. Like, it's just sugary and just sweet to spike our dopamine sensors and make us want to eat more shit and make us hungry and always starving. It's bullshit, right? So I stick to foods that keep me feeling my best. We're talking about grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, primal, sort of whole food diet. No ultra processed or processed stuff for me. I focus on organic meats, organic fruits that are locally slow grown towards me, no pesticides, no herbicides, and I eat cucumber. No, cucumber's not a vegetable, it's a fucking fruit. The only vegetable I really eat is broccoli, and I make sure it's cooked and steamed, and it's got to be organic, no pesticides, and add some raw milk to that as well, some colostrum, some raw eggs. I just have a very primal diet, right? You get the picture. And only drink spring water, glass bottle spring water. I don't drink fucking tap water, none of that bullshit. And I only drink the best coffee you can possibly find. And it's all about that clean, wholesome eating that nourishes and energizes. And again, it links back to the second pillar, which is wealth. Quite expensive to do this. I spend about $5,000 a month on food and on my diet. So yeah, it's not the cheapest, which is why if you want to take care of your health, which you should, this is your main priority. The main thing, if you've not got that type of money to spend, just stick to whole foods. That's the only thing. I don't want to confuse you with all this crazy stuff like this raw, unpasteurized, unheated butter and all this like complex stuff. Like I don't want to do that. If you don't have a lot of money, you're on the come up and you're in the grind, just stick to whole foods, right? Don't go get in fucking cereal bars. If stuff in the supermarket scream they're healthy to you, they're probably not healthy. An apple or steak doesn't have to sit there and say, I'm healthy, 1 of your 5 a day. If it's saying that, if it's saying, ooh, high in fiber, all this bullshit, just ignore it. If it has more than 4 or 5 ingredients on the back of the packet, and especially the ones you don't recognize, don't buy it. It's not fucking good for you. It shouldn't be in your body. It's just a bunch of bullshit, right? That's why so many people have cancer and all these fucking diseases. It's bullshit. So stop eating bullshit to feel good. Like, have some fucking discipline. Like, do you really care? Like, this is the vehicle that you've been blessed with. The odds of you being alive is fucking ridiculous. And you're fueling the one vehicle, the one body that you have with shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, are you mentally fucking ill? Stop that shit. Eat a whole food diet. Like, stop being a fucking pussy. And if you've got money, stop worrying about, oh, but it's expensive to... Shut the fuck up and go and eat shit, because it's the most important part. You're not going to operate, you're not going to perform at a high level unless you eat good shit, right? Simple as. Fucking, that's literally Bible. Like, literally, right? And I know this might not be everyone's cup of tea, and you might think I'm some fucking lunatic, and that's totally fine. You do you, right? You'll probably die quicker. It's simple as that, right? So let's not forget about some crucial aspects of health, all right? I'm talking about deep, sometimes challenging stuff, like shadow work, trigger trauma therapy, and inner child work, right? This is where health goes beyond just diet and exercise, but it's about taking care of your inner world. And you see, our mental and emotional health is shaped by so many things from our past and stuff that's not always on the surface. And that's where things like shadow work come in. It's about facing those hidden parts of ourselves, the stuff we don't always like to admit is there, or we might not even know is there. And it's tough. It's tough. I've done a lot of it. I'm working with a therapist right now on shadow work and stuff, and it's fucking tough. Like, there's a lot of trauma to unpack, and that's just what gives you clarity to keep pushing forward, right? And if you're feeling stuck and procrastinating, a lot of the time it could be because of that trauma that you haven't faced. Maybe you was bullied in school, maybe stuff happened to you as a child, maybe something's happened recently, like someone's passed away, and you don't process it properly or deal with it, right? And you just put it in the back of your mind. And so, like, trauma works like, you know, if, let's just think of you being in the pool. Let's just say you're in the pool. Someone throws a beach ball at you, you put her under the water with one hand, right? You put her under the water with one hand. They throw another ball at you, you hold her underwater with that hand. Now you're holding them underwater. They throw a third ball at you, you know, maybe you put her, you put her under yourself, like, you sit on it. Now you're holding like 3 balls down underwater. As soon as they throw that fourth ball, you can't catch it, so to catch it, you have to let go, and then, it all rushes up. That's how trauma works. You can only push it down for so long, and it'll come up in ways you don't know, and it'll affect you in so many different ways, and you might think, I haven't got clarity, I haven't got focus, I keep procrastinating, I'm not doing the stuff I need to do, probably because you haven't done any shadow work, and you need to process some trauma, and sometimes you don't even know what that trauma is. It could be stuff you don't even consciously remember, and you have to dive deep into yourself in a meditation to bring it up, right? But I don't want to get too distracted with that, but our mental and emotional health is shaped by so many things from our past, right? And it's about facing those hidden parts of ourselves, the stuff that we don't like to admit is there. And like I said, it is tough, but it's fucking powerful. Very powerful. You can move so much quicker through life once you figure this shit out. And it's like getting to know yourself on a whole new level and starting to heal parts of you that you didn't even realize needed attention. That's the craziest part. I remember how shocked I was when I first did a shadow work session. It was insane. And an inner child session. It was insane. Trigger trauma therapy, right? It's about understanding and working through those triggers that set off emotional responses. And we've all got them, and sometimes they link back to the past. And if you don't think you've got them, I promise you have. It doesn't matter how amazing you was brought up. 99% of you watching this video have got some type of trauma that you've probably not faced. But it's about learning how to deal with these in a healthy way so they don't keep messing with your day-to-day life. I was of this mindset until recently, like my dog passed away, and I was like, I'm just not going to process it. I haven't got time to process it. I should have known better because I've done this work, but I was just like, this was a massive, massive like issue for me. And I was like, I'm not even going to bother processing it because I got too much stuff to do and I don't want it to distract me. Don't do that. I had a terrible week at work. I wasn't focusing. I wasn't doing anything. I couldn't figure out why. As soon as it was happening, I knew why deep down. I meditated on it. I called my therapist and I was like, I need sessions. Like, I need to do some sessions. I need to process this properly or I'm not going to be able to have clarity when I work. And then you got inner child work as well, right? That's another big one. And that's about connecting with and healing that younger part of yourself, right? You know, the part that might still be hurting or scared. Maybe you was bullied in school, right? And it's that part that might be hurting or scared because of what happened way back when. It's kind of like going back in time and giving that younger you a big hug and saying, it's okay, I got you now, right? That's where it's about. And so wrapping up on health, it's not just about physical, but it's about taking a deep dive into your mental and emotional well-being and doing that inner child work and coming out stronger and more in tune with yourself. So, yeah, there you have it. That's the full picture of the 4 keys to the good life: health, wealth, love, and happiness. It's been real. I love talking about this stuff. I hope that this has given you some food for thought, maybe even sparked a little inspiration. But remember, it's all about finding your own balance and walking your own path. So, yeah, here's to living life, not just on the surface, but amazing through and through. And I will see you at the top. Love you guys. Peace.